ready for this?
You are now listening to Me Gente Podcast, hosted by yours truly.
All right, mi gente. Welcome once again to Mi Gente Podcast. If you guys watched our intro video, we are here. It is real. It is happening. We're doing this right now. So thank you for being with us. It's the quick intro. We got Maya with us, the cast.
What's up, mi gente? As you know, we are wearing the same clothes. So it's being recorded the same day.
All right, we're going to record it. We don't have time for no, just kidding. And of course, none other than Danny and Soti and Nico.
Yes. Hello.
Hey, que la que.
All right. So let's get into it right away, guys, so that we can discuss some very interesting topics and relate it to people. Hopefully they can connect. If not, then whatever. Not to get us. One of the things that we wanted to talk to you guys about or just discuss about is cultural differences. So our family composes in, couple of cultures here. Soti, as you know, she is Puerto Rican, and she comes obviously from Puerto Rico. Right?
No shit.
I thought she was Puerto Rican and came from Cuba or something.
New York, No, but it's there. And also, not only Puerto Rican, we got Filipino. We got white. And I want to say that this maybe counts as a cultural difference, I guess we can debate it or not, but we have Chicanos.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We have Chicanos in our culture, and we'll be like, well, it's not a culture. Yes, it is, according to California history.
And compared to Mexicans, yes.
Exactly.
Really? Well, I'm gonna have to get a history lesson on that because I don't know what Chicanos are.
Chicanos are a Mexican who was born in the U.S.
Oh.
And then we also do have Mexicans that are different type of Mexicans.
Yeah.
Like from Oaxaca.
No.
No.
Well, no.
I
No. Okay, no. That's...
Yes, they are very different. I agree with you. 100%.
I don't know what that means.
So
you guys say it all the time.
So,
just because Danny
you guys say it all
fits
the
a
time.
stereotype.
What does Oaxaca mean?
Oaxaca's a place.
Soti, I agree. You are 100% right.
Oaxaca's a place in Mexico.
Wouldn't that be like a different?
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
But we don't have anyone from Oaxaca.
It's a little derogatory, but
Going back to
I guess what you mean is there's a different type of Mexican, meaning that like a lot of these Mexican people in our family, our aunts, our uncles, our parents, they spent the majority of their life now in the U.S. as opposed to living in Mexico, where it's a much different culture over there. They're more whitewashed, I guess you could say.
Right.
Or more modern.
More modern, yes.
More modern, yeah. Another word is like paisa,
Yeah.
Paisa.
Yeah, I mean, like a good example is like my dad. My dad moved over here when he was 17 years old, and he's now 62.
Yeah.
So he's literally spent more time in the U.S. than in Mexico.
He did in Mexico. Yeah.
But the guy, you talk to him and he speaks English majority. He does get by with English. But man, you would think after 40-something years here that he speaks perfect English, and they don't, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my dad's not the only one, right?
We'll get into that in a little bit later. Going back to the Chicano thing, there's actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but in California, there's Chicano studies in community college.
Yeah. I took one class of Chicano studies. Yeah,
I did. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, so
I barely know U.S. history, so
I think one of our cousins, she majored in Chicano studies, didn't she?
Oh yeah,
Ilse?
Oh wow!
I did not know that.
Yeah, we'd have to get her on at some point, but I'm pretty sure she studied it heavily in college. Yeah.
Nice. So obviously, we got a little bit of a mix here. I'm kind of waiting to see who's gonna come up with another one here. But yeah, very very different. Like for my experience, dealing with my sister-in-law, which she's half Filipino and the other half Spanish. I don't even know what she is the other half, but we know that half of she's Filipino. So right then and there, there's a little bit of a cultural differences, but she can hang in there. She understands Spanish. She speaks it when she has to, but she can sing in Spanish. So
Well, Filipino is not too different from Spanish, right? I mean, what they speak.
Yeah, they speak all kinds of dialects, but Visayan, Ilocano.
That girl speaks anything.
Yeah, so
any topics too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very interesting topics. We'll probably get into that later. But yeah, and then what about Puerto Ricans? How far are we from,
How similar is our cultures?
Yeah.
In your opinion?
There is some similarities. Our language is different, so I had to learn how to say some things like the word cabrón. Yeah, like the word cabrón over there is really bad, and over here is like my father-in-law grabs him. He's like, "Oh my god, cabrón," and I was like, and like frijoles, we say habichuelas. There's like a list of stuff, so I had to learn like the language, and then I had to tell my mom, like, whenever she comes, please don't say this, or I had to tell Danny when he goes over there, please don't say this over there, or vice versa, because it's bad. Right. So it was a
culture shock.
Yeah, but it was like amazing to see how places speak Spanish, but they're so different. Or even our Spanish is so different. Our culture is so different. And there is a lot of cultural, and it's crazy because I don't know how we don't get into bigger arguments regarding our culture, because sometimes it's so different and I have such a different view. But I feel like we kind of understand each other a lot when it comes to it. I don't know about our families, but we do.
Yeah, there's a lot of, just in language alone, she speaks Spanish, but man, the first time I heard her talk to her family, it was like if she was
like
speaking,
a sexy Spanish.
It was like a whole nother language. I mean, I literally, yeah, that was my face. Like, okay, because it was like so some Bad Bunny type shit. It's so fast, and it's so much slang, right? It's not like, we use words, but they make up words most of the time. And it's words that they've used over time, but they now they have like a ton of different meanings. So most of the time when she's talking to me and she's saying something in Spanish, she's like, do you know what that means? And most of the time I can say yes, because of the context that she's using in, but not because I know what that word means. Right. And so, but it's interesting because if you talk to her, she if she's talking to you in Spanish, depends on who she's talking to. Because I've seen this. The second we're in, like let's say we're traveling to Puerto Rico, right? LA airport, the people helping you out all speak Spanish, but they're all Mexican, right? So you're talking to them a certain way. The second you land, like let's say in Florida for that layover, Florida, it's a whole nother, Caribbean type of Spanish. Oh, her Spanish changes like that. Like so there's the way you speak and everything. And trust me, I'll spend weeks in Puerto Rico, and the time I'm there, I'm even catching myself speaking a little Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? So yeah, it changes you for sure.
Yeah, no, because I feel like hearing Puerto Ricans speak Spanish, because I saw the Nicky Jam little
the documentary.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're well versed then.
Right?
I was like
expert.
Man,
that's all you need.
Are they singing or are they just talking? Because it's like, man, everything's like
they're freaking rapping. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, So yeah.
But even within Puerto Ricans, like you have like the older Puerto Rican generation, like is very different from the younger ones in how they speak, and it's very. I shit you not, I cannot keep up. If all her family's together, one time we were sitting down at a party, right, and everyone was just kind of going at it, and she stops and she goes, listen, and it's just so loud, and everyone's
Like,
just
everybody's
talking
just talking on top of everybody.
on top of each other, and the
Yeah.
whole time I have no idea what's going on. I'm in no conversation. I'm in zero conversation. I don't
But then
know
you're
what's
getting
going
information
on.
from here, from there,
Uh-huh.
because everybody's talking something different, and just everybody's talking on top of each other.
And so fast, and if you can't keep up, I mean, her grandma, que en paz descanse, it was like you had to like do one of these because she would talk very low and very fast, and I had no idea what she was saying half the time.
I'm surprised they were in like, mija, ¿estás segura que te quieres casar con este?
Right? No, that did happen at the beginning. Maybe not your family, but my family did not want me marrying
Especially a Mexican.
a
that looks like an
Mexican.
Indian.
Yes, they did
Yeah.
not want me marrying a Mexican. So that was interesting, and I feel like his family is taking him. We've been together for almost 13.
Together almost 13, yeah.
Almost 13 years, and I feel like at the beginning, his family, it took him a while. His family took him a while to accept me and accept my my everything, I
Your
guess.
bichuelaness?
Yes.
No,
like
not
my
in a,
between-
I don't think it was in a
Yeah.
negative way.
And
It was
no, it was just again, maybe they felt like it was like a big cultural shock. Like,
well, it's like our families are used to everyone being outgoing, right?
Yes.
And very extroverted, even when we're within each other. Like, I'm a very introverted person with strange people, but with our family, I'm very extroverted, right? And she's very introverted. She can party for like an hour, and then after that, she's like, I want to go home, And our family will party all day, and then they'll do like calentado, and then party all day, right? And so
the recalentado was something to get used to too, because we don't have that in Puerto Rico, by the way.
right, you go home and
That's it.
You're done.
You go to sleep. The next day, you do your own thing.
Right. And so, like, a lot of times it's like, hey, what's wrong with her? Or, she's not happy or whatever the case may be. It's like, she just,
Just her.
It's just her.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with Danny. I think our family's not that you weren't accepted. I think, our family is very open to, getting to know you and stuff. But because you were even you and I would say hi, but not really as close as we are now.
Yeah.
Right?
it's the understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think that was the key, is no one really, because no one had ever seen her type of culture. Right. So it's that understanding of that other culture. Because we had that with my uncle Jeff, right? My aunt married a white guy named Jeff.
A white guy.
And the guy's the nicest guy, but it takes a while to get used to, because himself, he's taken a while to get used to what we kind of do, and then us getting used to him, and he sees things a little bit differently, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's just a mutual understanding of each other is what it comes down to.
It's gotten to the point now where like you've been in the family for so long, like me or Jeff or even Danny, Sylvia's Danny, we are, like he says, more of like that introvert, but it's gotten to the point where now we feel comfortable being like, peace out, I'm tired, you guys can continue with your party until 4:00 in the morning, I'm going to freaking sleep. But it's taken a long time for us to do that. Right.
Yeah, no, it has. And I don't know, because even some of our in-laws who are from here, the majority of them, like one of our cousins married a Hispanic or a Mexican guy who was born and raised here in the U.S. And because our family is at heart old school Mexican, we still do some of that old school traditions. It's very hard for him to get used to that kind of thing, because in the U.S. a lot of those traditions don't really happen, right? And so yeah, it's taking him a while, but like she said, he's a lot more comfortable with us now, where he's like, hey, I'm out of here. I don't want to party for 4 days straight. So
hey, speaking of cultural differences, of traditions, Maya has this thing that a lot of Mexican people do, and it involves
Yeah, it's not my thing. It was passed on to me. My grandma used to do it. My mom did it. I'm pretty sure my tias did. Maybe Danny's mom too. I mean, I know that you got Cesar. You got slapped with ruda and huevo too. So what he's talking about is barrida de huevo. You know, especially for newborns or babies. Oh, que tienen mal de ojo, or you know they're fuzzy, or no le cayó bien la comida. You know, whatever it is, colic or whatever. You grab an egg and you start praying, and you start doing it all over their little bodies, right? And then you crack it, and then you put it, well, obviously llenas el vaso de agua, and you put it in there. Yeah, the baby is able to sleep. They're more calm. I don't know if it's true or not. I do it. I've been at Danny's and at Cesar's, and I'll be asking for an egg. They're like, serious?
Like
really?
right now.
So I have a random theory about this that we'll go into in a little bit. But first of all, for the people that don't know, what is mal de ojo?
Yeah, so mal de ojo, and this is from what I know, right? I'm not like a bruja or anything like that, but basically mal de ojo is when your baby catches just like energy. It doesn't have to be bad energy, just like too much energy from a person. I don't have a little bracelet, but sometimes babies are wearing a red bracelet, and it has like an eye on it.
Like a deer eye, right? Them. Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah, that's
deer
supposed
eye?
to protect them.
Yeah, I've seen deer eyes, or whatever.
It's called brujeria.
No, it's not brujeria.
So I've also heard that with that bracelet, it's supposed to protect with that energy, and I've heard people say that, yeah, my son or daughter were around and we're at a party, and at the end of the night, that bracelet, the eye, it completely shattered into like a bunch of different pieces because it was trying to like take away all that bad energy that it just absorbed it all, and it just popped. Mm-hmm. And I've never seen it. So, but my mom, yeah, she believed in mal de ojo and all that stuff. And she would do all the barridas and everything. And everyone who's ever done it, they swear by it, right? But I wonder if it's just more of a belief thing. Because when you're praying, first of all, I don't know if it's a Catholic thing or not. Because when you're praying, what are you praying? Are you praying like a Hail Mary? Or are you praying?
Yeah.
Or are you just like saying your own rezo?
Yeah, well, what my mom told me, you pray whatever you know. I don't know el credo, so I just pray Padre Nuestro, Ave Maria, all over.
Padre Nuestro. Oh, I got a question about that too, but okay, yeah.
Go ahead, Dad.
No, my question about that is like when you guys are talking in Spanglish or whatever, like when you guys are ordering tacos, you guys order tacos or you guys order tacos, or do you guys order? When you go to the store and you be like carne asada, or you say like carne asada. A perfect one. When you go to Disneyland, the person selling churros is not a Hispanic, so what do? You say, hey, I want 2 churros, or you say churros?
Churros. If the person is, Spanish speaking, I'll say it in Spanish.
Okay.
But Hoover does make fun of me when I say, let's go to El Torito.
El Torito.
Yeah. El Torito.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, I've gotten grief because of that, but yeah.
Going back to the whole
going back. Yes.
Sorry, we go on tangents every now and then.
I have a huge issue with that because I was not around, right, in Puerto Rican culture. So then I get here, and I don't remember how it came up, but somebody mentioned, I think it was your mom, and I was like, the what? The what? Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, the huevo, and we do this and that. And all I'm thinking to myself is, oh my gosh, she's going to kill the chicken and she's going to like leave the blood. I don't know.
Think about voodoo and stuff like that.
Yes, like what is this? Yes. Like she's like mixing something in the pot. I don't know. So I asked him and he's like, well, we do this for kids. And I was like, whenever we do have kids, they never, they better not do this to my child because I'm going to get pissed.
Yeah.
So I told my mother, again, I have to respect his culture and then he needs to respect my culture. So I said, you know what, if you guys are going to do this to my child or to my children, please do this in your own home and then don't tell me about it. Just don't tell me about it. right? I don't need to know, right? 20 years down the line, you can be like, yeah, that one time que le pasé el huevo, and I don't know what. I was like, whatever. So then one time I go to pick up my daughter from his mom's, and she's like, ay, mija, that she was crying. And no, what happened? I remember we were at KFC, and then she's like yelling. She was probably like 2 years old. She's yelling in the back seat, like nonstop, crying. And I call my mother-in-law, like, Ika, what happened? Like, she's like crying. Does she not feel well? And she's like, yeah, I don't know, but yo le pasé un huevo, and I don't know what. And I was like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, yo le pasé el huevo. And I was like, this is why my child has been crying nonstop, because le pasaste el huevo. And you're like, you put something in it or something. So yeah, I have like a major issue with that. And then even with him, like I haven't put the little red thing on it.
So he's very fussy.
Yes.
And like all the time.
There is a reason.
Right.
So he's hungry.
Right.
Or
yeah,
he's
hungry.
Sleepy,
he's sleepy or something.
So
he's very fussy, and when he gets angry, he gets angry. Right. And so in the last like 2 weeks, when he's thrown his little tantrums of like this and that, and he's just, you can't calm him down, I'll turn to her and I'll say, so do you want to do it now? Do you want to do it now? Like, you know, has this changed your mind? Like, have you reached a point where you're just like, I don't know what else to do? But sure enough, the time that we were having those issues, we knew what the issue was. We knew it was colic, because he was having a lot of the gas going in and everything. And sure enough, we got him some colic drops and he calmed down. It was like night and day after that. But we didn't have to go through the huevo, right?
No,
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up, because my husband, he's Mexican también, and he doesn't believe in that stuff. Like his family doesn't do that stuff at all. Y también he had said, don't do it. I don't want to see it. Don't do it in front of me. Right? He's at the point where he'll bring me the huevo.
Whatever you got to do.
Right?
Yes,
Which
because
huevos are we talking about here?
The one that gives
The
you the second
breakable
baby,
ones.
or
Okay.
okay.
Just wanted to make sure. Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's been a couple of times where we've given her colic drops, and that's our last resort, and we'll just do it, and I kid you not, she's calm and she'll get a good night rest, so it works for us. I don't know, for us, brujeria is the whole evil thing, bring in a villa, do all that stuff.
Like the chicken with the head cut off.
Oh, yes.
I'm trying to look for a doll here.
You go to a Mexican store, right? There's little markets and everything, and there's an aisle full of just velas, right? With the most random santo or character in there, and and everyone's over here like filling everything. I don't get me wrong, I love velas. I think they're great, and I think for Virgin Mary, all these people, yeah. But then when you start getting into like, I've seen one of like Memo Ochoa dressed up as San Judas, right? And it's like, really? Like, you're gonna really do that? I mean, I know we hold our freaking athletes up here, but like, come on, like that's not
Memo Ochoa. Maybe that's not to pray. Maybe that's just for fun.
Maybe it is, but man, someone's got to be buying them if the store's full of 15, candles and per aisle or whatever, or per row. Someone's got to be buying them. So I don't know. It's just, everyone has their own preferences, and like I said, we've done a pretty good job of kind of mixing both her culture and our culture, and try to do it. I don't push so much for that kind of stuff, because ultimately she's the mama. She's gonna want to do what she wants.
Is there something that? Oh yeah. So then so I'm gonna talk about this one. So whenever we go to parties, I'm not used to like the traditional Mexican vestimenta, right? Like the sombrero and the boots and all this stuff. Like I never saw that ever. So like ever. So he's all like, oh, well, when we baptize the baby, can I do? And I'm like, what? You want what?
I want to do a charro, like a little charro outfit,
okay,
right?
yeah. And I'm like, And then I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'm all like, my family is definitely gonna make fun of him, but it's okay. I'm all like, ni modo. I'll compromise.
But it's funny because when we'll go to that, we'll go to like a thing like that, and for work, I work in ag, and so I usually wear like jeans, boots, and then like a polo shirt, and a lot of the times, or a button-up shirt. And a lot of times when you go to a party like that, people are wearing jeans, boots, and a button-up shirt. So I'll wear that, and she's like, "You look like you're going to work," and I'm like. Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's just me. And it's funny because, our whole family dresses like that. Especially, si va a ser la fiesta en un rancho, like, the last thing I want to do is take my brand new white sneakers out to a rancho. So, yeah, I'll wear boots, It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but just bringing it back to the culture difference in the huevo, there's other stuff, right? There's, like, the barrera with ruda or stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that maybe like grandma did that maybe we're not doing it at all, or our spouses don't believe in it, or I don't know.
Yeah, so what is something Claudia do?
No, she was okay. So the whole barrida thing, it does come from our Mexican culture, but it is linked to
Catholicism. Yeah.
Catholicism. So before, we were Catholic before. Now we converted to Christianity a long time ago. So my grandma used to do the barrida, and she used to do it with ruda, which for some reason I thought it was what is it?
Eucalyptus.
Yeah, because it smelled horrible. And
I like the smell of ruda.
She would do the whole thing, and then all of a sudden it's like bah bah bah, and then I'm like, whoa, and then I would be, and then at some point they would also do the huevo. I guess I would get a double dosage or anything like that, and so that was my experience with the barrida. I don't know, we had a little conversation when my guys got here between her mom and my dad, and basically we kind of got to the point where it was like, okay, well, maybe it's not the actual huevo, maybe it's the actual prayer that has the
effect.
Yeah.
What you have faith in is what becomes real,
And, or I have. Yeah. Let me interject my theory so you can finish yours.
Go ahead.
What if? So the child isn't crying that much, right? This is just a theory. I literally 5 seconds ago I brought it up.
Sure.
Child is fussy, and if it's not so fussy, you're barriendo, but it's not that bad, right?
Right.
But the fussier he gets, you're moving that huevo faster, right? And you're moving it faster, right? And when he's screaming, you're shaking that thing up and everything, and you're praying, and the baby's confused, doesn't know what's going on, and finally you daze them, and baby falls asleep, and you crack the egg, and you scramble the damn egg.
You're not supposed to scramble it.
I don't know, like you pop it, like todo el movimiento y todo, you pop it, and then like it's just the yolk.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, I don't know. I'm not a barridor, but Maya.
Well, I don't see. That's the thing about me, that I don't know what it means. I just know that if it has white stuff on top of it, then there was something.
Some bad energy there.
Something.
But I do agree. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just like your own faith.
The faith, yeah.
Yeah, your own faith.
That's what we concluded.
So what was that conversation like then between?
Yes.
Heated.
I knew what the position where Rosa was. I knew because we kind of had that conversation over here, because we were at my dad's house and we were at our place here, and we kind of had that conversation, and plus other conversations. So I kind of wanted to open up because, my dad, he's coming from a Christian background.
You were instigating.
Yeah, I was instigating.
He was.
And then so one thing turns into another, and then no, que no sé qué, que sí, que pues yo no estoy hablándole al demonio, estoy hablando con Dios, and que no sé qué, and everything just, it turned out, it was a really polite, heated conversation. But I guess the conclusion is that maybe it's not the power of the huevo, so it could be maybe one of those Easter egg huevos.
How about if the gallina had something to do with the huevo, like the type of gallina?
I mean, there's a lot of questions, right? There's a lot of questions that where does it come from? Why an egg? Is it the egg? What are the meanings when you crack it that we don't know?
Are you willing to run some tests on your daughter when she's fussy and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna grab an ostrich egg or a duck egg
An ostrich
and
huge, loser. I know the ostrich.
See if it makes any a duck egg, brown egg versus a white egg, maybe an Easter egg, a chocolate egg.
Actually, I did do. You gave me a white egg, and then Cesar gave me a brown one.
Yeah, ours was white.
Yeah. They both.
Ours was organic.
Te digo, it has to do with the gallina.
Except for human eggs.
I don't want those eggs that cross the border. No, give me the white ones.
But yeah, this is just one of many cultural differences.
Right.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to talk about generational cultural differences. So, and I think this story is going to kind of lead us into a broad tangent, and maybe we can land somewhere here. So that whole barrida, right? We're like just joking around. Yeah, this and that and whatever. It came time where my guys, like I mentioned, they had visited us, and it was time for them to go back to California. And that day, my dad decided to have a little accident. And he got excited about the barrida. Long story short, and I kind of want to show the picture how this happened, because
viewer discretion
discretion is advised. I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe better.
Yeah.
But
zoom in. Ooh.
At first, I thought he was working for the Illuminati because that little thing aligns with his nose, It aligns perfectly. So how he got that was he put his head under a lawnmower, and somehow the little handle slipped while his head was here, and just decided to just create that Illuminati effect.
Well, the lawnmower was off, just to be clear.
Yes, the lawnmower was off. Thank God. Wow. So that happened that day that Maya went back. A lot of other issues happened as well, where for some reason Claudia ended up in the hospital, and my dad ended up in the hospital.
Claudia's his wife.
Yeah, Claudia's my wife. And she ended up in the hospital because her nose was bleeding and the blood clots were coming out. And where I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but you probably should go to the hospital if blood clots are coming up from your nose. Anyways, long story short, when this happened, my dad was like, "Ay, Mari, me corté. And I want to say that my mom's first reaction was like, "Ay, Trini, busca la curita." But my dad, look, I mean, he got 9 stitches. And all I can picture is my dad with like Trump's hair just flapping, just flapping, skin flapping, Yeah, ponte una curita, ya deja de estar jodiendo, ponte una curita. No, Mari, no, ven, que no sé qué. And then when my mom came out, I just saw blood just gushing uncontrollably. And she's like, "Ay, te cortaste, ¿por qué no me decías?" Que no sé, So let's pause. First of all, who does that? Who does not take these things serious where, hey, I got a cut on my face and I'm bleeding. What is a curita gonna do? First of all, it's like
ponte Vicks.
Yeah, ponte for everything is Vicks.
Ponte Vicks.
Yeah,
because we believe in that in Puerto Rico too. Ponte Vicks.
Vaporub.
Vaporub.
Yeah, there's a bunch. There's the whole thing with lemon, like lemon cures everything, right? There's Vaporub, Vicks,
el tea.
Manzanilla,
Té de manzanilla cures everything.
Or Sprite, somehow that cures everything too. Yeah,
when you want to throw up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's all these different things, but more than that, I think it's just like an avoidance to like try to get to the bottom of what's actually happening, right? I mean, because my dad had a very similar experience where I guess he was out with his friends or whatever, and he cut his hand. And my dad did not want to go to the hospital because he wanted to hang out with his friends still. And I saw his hand, and literally, I mean, it's his finger, it was hanging off. And I'm like, dude, you got to go.
And then he
Don't
couldn't
worry.
move.
He couldn't move it or anything. The guy ended up getting stitches too. He got like 4 stitches. And I'm like, dude, like, you
And then
just gotta go to the
he
hospital.
just had surgery on it too.
Yeah, like he
because
messed
his
up a tendon.
Oh my god! And
Yeah.
this is that old school culture where it literally
Yes.
you literally have to be on the deathbed to keep these guys down. You
Right.
know what I mean? Where like cuts like that. Oh no, estoy bien. Me voy a poner una servilleta, and just blood is just like everywhere.
No pasa nada.
No pasa
Yeah,
nada
no
aquí,
pasa
no pasa
nada.
nada.
That's actually exactly what my dad said. No pasa nada. I'm like,
No
all
pasa
right.
nada aquí.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, our parents, they're here in the U.S. and they've been here for. I mean, your dad had a very similar upbringing, like my dad as well.
Yeah,
They were actually best friends growing up, right? And they were in their teens and their 20s growing up, and they never really went back to Mexico.
No.
But they still hold that Mexican like machismo, that like that Mexican culture, like near and dear to their heart. I mean, and my dad especially. We'll have heated conversations about, even a quinceañera. Do we want to even throw a quinceañera? And even bringing that up, it was the worst.
And I am the instigator in that
because we want to give Aria the option of, do you want a quince or do you want like a big trip and we'll invite some of your friends or whatever, like more of an experience thing. And we want to give her the option. My dad's like, pero como? Like, how dare you even offer that as an option?
And I was all like, so, because he's all like, why travel? And I was like, what do you mean, why travel? Like, what? And I was all like, right? So I was like, whenever your grandkids grow older or even your great grandkids, do you want to be like, I just tiré este party, or do you want to be like, yeah, I was in the Eiffel Tower and I took this picture, or I went to, I don't know, España and I took this one picture, and this is me with, I don't know who, you know what I mean? But he was not having it. He was
very like, look, I'm a very simple man. He's like, I got good friends here. I go to, they invite me to parties or whatever. He's like, I'm comfortable. He's like, I don't need to go out to France or Spain to go look at a tower or look at this. He's like, I could just hang out here with the people that I love, the people. And, granted, I want to get to a place where I'm like that too. Right. But I don't want to live my entire life like that. Like, I guess he fulfilled whatever he wanted out of his life, where he's just in a point where he's just comfortable now, which is great. I feel like a lot of us need to get to that point. I just don't want to get there in my 30s,
Yeah. So I have two interesting things to share from what you guys said. The first one about the quinceañera thing, right? I grew up with the idea of, you're going to have a quinceañera because it's part of our tradition. Because when you grow up and you go to college, because, siempre nos dijeron like college.
Right.
It was just not an option not to go to college. So when you go to college, you can travel. Okay, I want a car. You're going to get your car anyways, but you're going to get it later. You're still going to have your quinceañera. So that's kind of where I'm coming from, even with my baby. Like, I'm planning her baptism right now, right? And it was like, chill, it's just her first birthday. And I'm like trying to go all out. And I was telling him like, oh, just wait till her quinceañera. And he's like, really? I'm like, yes, because she can she's already traveling with us. She can travel another time. Quinceañera is just a one-time thing. So that's different than,
right.
What?
Yeah, I'm all for a quinceañera. I just don't want to force my daughter to have one.
Well, yeah, if she doesn't want one.
And the thing is that I can already tell Aria's going to want one, right? She's that girly girl. She's like, I want to be that center of attention. I can see her putting on a skit with all her friends because she's in dance and all that stuff. I know she's going to want one. I just want her to want it. I don't, because, like my sisters growing up, whether they wanted the quince or not, they were probably going to have it. And it was because that was what my dad wanted.
Yeah. And then as far as, and I think this is just different, también it could also be that maybe like our parents don't go, or other people, other people that are watching don't go to the hospital to take care of themselves because of the money.
Right.
Right. My mom is one of those that ay, me voy a hacer este remedio. She'll look up stuff on YouTube, because she has to pay $50 para que le digan, oh, just take Advil or take, whatever it is. So that's another thing that I think, like, Ma, I always tell her, Ma, you never know, just go, But she's like, oh, well, they're just going to make me pay, no me van a dar nada. Or they're going to tell me, oh, you're fine. Right now she's having knee problems, and she's gone a couple of times, no le hice nada. So she's doing her home remedies.
Yeah.
No, it is.
I think because in our culture it is the same thing as well. Like when it comes to anything, we have, even when it comes to like mental health, right? So I've suffered from depression since I was 15. Recently, meaning in the last like 5 years, I got diagnosed with anxiety. And then I'm actually diagnosed with adult ADHD and slight OCD. So I was taking medication for it before this pregnancy. But when I was 15, I told my mom, I was like, Mom, there is a problem. There is an issue. And she's all like, no, I'm like, Mom, I'm crying or, whatever. And she was like, ay, mija, you'll get over it. You'll get over it. Don't worry, you'll get over it. And it wasn't until I was like, Mom, I think something is really wrong. Like, I need to go see somebody, right? That came up. So I feel like also, and I feel like this is just a Hispanic thing, not just like not just a Puerto Rican thing or a Mexican thing. I think this is just a Hispanic thing that it just gets put to the side and ay, se te va. You'll feel better tomorrow or, whatever. So, yeah, it's something that happens. It gets pushed to the side.
I also think there's been a lot more awareness in the Hispanic community due to mental health and we've seen it more here in the U.S. I don't know about anything else, but yeah, it's been one of those things where I think we realize the type of culture we come from, where it's a very like, hey, keep your emotions to yourself. Don't really show them on your sleeve. If you're going through something, you got to strap up and you got to keep working, right? And we learned that, through my grandpa, through my parents, through everyone else. When your parents come and cross the border illegally and they share their story, there's a tremendous amount of pressure on you to make sure that they're proud of you because they did it for a specific reason, right? And the last thing you want to do is tell them like, hey, you're having a hard time, when they're like, man, I just fucking crossed a border for you. And but it's something that needs to be spoken about because they're probably dealing with some stuff themselves that they don't want to show their kids or they don't want to show anyone else because it's just not in their culture. But
yeah. Anyway, so I think this was a good episode. I think maybe we can, close this session here with this episode and, leave some comments, see what you guys think about the huevo, about cultural differences, about mental illness. And, we want to be educated as well, and so that we can share our opinion. And of course, we have to come to a consensus to where we can agree to disagree, but with respect.
Yep.
Because we all come from different avenues and we all have different perspectives on how we view things. So by all means, if we answer something, like Maya said, we're not mad. We're just, here's our opinion, and you do with that information, and vice versa as well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So follow us on our socials that we have, and
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. Thank you very much. From mi gente, we love you guys. Till the next time.
All right.